Hi guys, welcome back to my Plain and Simple Life channel and blog. If you all like this video and find it helpful, educational, or entertaining, please hit the like button and also subscribe so that you don't miss out any of my tips or tricks on how to be more sustainable on your little spot of land. So today I am going to be putting up this Cushaw. My sister grew it on her farm actually, and gave it to me last fall as decoration, and it stayed outside until late November, early December, and then we was expecting a hard freeze, so I had to bring it in. And at that time I washed it with vinegar water so that if it had like any kind of mold or mildew or anything like that on it, that it would kill that and keep it from rotting. But now it is February, and it is getting a little soft around the stem end and also around the blossom end. So I'm going to go ahead and bake it and put it up, and I'm going to show you how I do that. And then also be watching out for further videos, especially around fall time, where I show you how I use this in pies and cakes and cookies, and also stew recipes as well. So what I'm doing here is I rinsed it off, got all the extra little dust and dirt that it's collected over the last couple months off of it, and I cut off the stem end and I cut off the blossom end. And once you get it cut open in half, that's where you can scoop out some seeds and save them for your garden for spring. And just rinse them off, let them dry real good on a paper towel. And then once they are completely dry, you put them in an envelope or whatever you keep your seeds in. But I'm not going to do that. I have plenty of Cushaw seeds. So what I'm going to do is bake them so that when I give them to my chickens, the ones that they don't eat won't germinate out there, and I have Cushaw everywhere in the garden. So just cut it open and lay it on a cookie sheet with a parchment line for easy cleanup, and then bake it at 350 degrees for about a half an hour. And I've already had my oven preheating here, and it is done cooking now. When it is fork tender, or you can stick a knife through it, and it's real easy. So I am going to remove this from the oven, and if you have have the other side ready to bake, then go ahead and put that in now. But I'm just going to show you half of it right now. And we are going to let that cool completely. It's really, really hot, and it steams, and steam will get you quicker than fire, like my mama would tell you. So here I am scooping out the seeds and the strings and all those little bits that you don't really want in your pie, and I'm going to put that in my chicken bucket. Now, squash seeds, pumpkin seeds, Cushaw seeds are known to have a anti-parasitic effect for your chickens, and they absolutely love pumpkin and the pumpkin seeds and all those stringy bits. So I give that to my chickens. Pumpkin and squashes and Cushaws are also good for your dogs. So if you wanted to give them a little bit, then that would be good for them as well. They make good dog treats and stuff. So once you get all that scraped out and removed, then you just start working on getting the meat of the Cushaw pulled away from the skin there. And then I just collect all that in a bowl. Now I use Cushaw and pumpkin and butternut squashes pretty much interchangeably. They all make good pies. In fact, one year I made butternut pie and pumpkin pie and didn't tell people which one was which. And they all told me that the butternut pie was the pumpkin pie, and that the pumpkin pie was too bland. So as you can tell, you can use all these things interchangeably, and they turn out really, really well. My favorite way to use this is when I freeze it, I will put it in cubes, and I'm going to show you that in just a little bit here. But each cube is a half a cup, so that I can measure it out no matter what I'm baking with it or cooking with it or whatever. But in my oatmeal, I just grab out one of those half cup cubes, and so I cook my oatmeal in a little pot, and then I cook my topping in a little bitty skillet. And I have my Cushaw, my half a cup of Cushaw in there. I have a jelly jar of apples that I put up, and then I'll put in some raisins or some cranberries or something like that, and then add that to my oatmeal when it's done cooking. And that is a really good filling breakfast full of nutrients. So as you are scooping this up and putting it in your bowl, be sure to keep a watch out for any bruises or anything that you might have missed, and you want to avoid those, and any seeds, or sometimes when you get close to the skin, you'll actually scoop up some of the skin. That doesn't go well in a pie or in your stew, so be sure to remove that as well. So in stews, yeah, so I put this a cube or two, so a half a cup or a cup in my chilies, depending on how much I'm making, and also my beef stews, and it adds such a richness to those stews that you just can't mimic with anything else. And the nutrients that you're adding in there, all the beta carotene and all the good vitamins and minerals and stuff that come with the Cushaw. And you don't get a big bite of Cushaw because it's all pureed up. It pretty much just goes into thickening up your gravy or your sauce. I also add Cushaw and pumpkins in my spaghetti sauces as well. I call it a garden sauce. So if I have like a bunch of like Cushaw or a pumpkin that's ready or a butternut squash that's ready, and I need to beef up the amount, like maybe I didn't have enough tomatoes or something to really make a big batch, so I will add other vegetables, the peppers and onions and carrots and Cushaw and all that stuff, and blend that in with my spaghetti seasonings, and that makes a really good spaghetti sauce as well. So I am almost done here, and I give the skins to the chickens as well. And any bits and pieces that may have dried out, like the end of that stem there, those end pieces dried out, so the chickens are going to get that as well. So now I'm going to take a hand masher, and I'm going to mash it by hand. You can totally just mash it by hand. You don't need any kind of electric appliances. If you don't want to use those, or if you don't have those to use, you can totally use a fork and mash it, or this is my potato masher here. I use it, and I also am checking for seeds and pieces of skin and any hard bits that that may not go well in a pie or something like that, or won't squish up good. So anything that I want to cull right now, I go ahead and pull it out. But yeah, just mash it up, give it a good mashing, and then because I like mine a smooth puree, I'm going to use my submersion blender here. And you want to be careful with this. The Cushaw is not hot right now. I've let it cool completely, so I don't have to worry about getting burned. But the submersion blender has like 4 little holes in the head of that thing, and if you have it on high and at the surface, it will shoot that stuff across the room, so be careful with that. So I keep it kind of buried in the Cushaw there so that it doesn't splatter out, and blend it to the consistency that you like it. Now if you're just going to put this in soups and stews only, and you didn't want it completely pureed like baby food puree, then you could totally leave it chunky. But I'm gonna like use it in my oatmeals and things like that, so I want it I want it good and smooth. So I take my time pureeing it and get it good and smooth. And then I get a silicone muffin pan, and I got it at Walmart, and it was just a few bucks. I should have got a few more because I use this thing all the time for all kinds of things. But so each one of those muffin tin or muffin cups measures a half a cup. So I am going to fill this up, and then I'm going to tap it down, make sure I don't have a bunch of air bubbles and space in there. And then I freeze it overnight, and then remove it from the muffins before it starts getting dry on top. And put them in Ziploc baggies, and then just smush out the air the best I can. And that lasts a good year and a half. I don't store it very much longer than that. But here it is in a bag. And see how easy they are to remove? And you just pull one out when you need it, and each one's a half a cup. So let me know how you use yours, and if you tried to put up your Cushaw pumpkin this way.